Is not power. For years, we've all been told knowledge is power, and nowhere is this more prevalent than in the domain of trading. In this episode, I'll reveal why that is not quite correct, and of course, what is correct. My name is 𝐊𝐍𝐲, trading psychology master coach and active trader for the past 25 years. Thank you for joining me from wherever you are in the world you may be. And a very warm welcome to episode 30 of the Trading Psychology and Mindset Show. It's currently 9 a.m, Wednesday, the 24th of August, 2022, here in Southeast Australia, getting towards the end of winter. And as always, I'll be diving deep into what is needed to retrain the mind we bring to trading into the mind we need for profitable and enduring success. If you've got any questions, please put them into the chat box. I'm happy to answer questions at the end of this episode. So, the role of knowledge in trading. It's important. It's very important. Without it, you'll never be successful. The role of a system with an edge that extracts more capital from the market than it gives back. That's also important, very important. Without it, you'll never be successful in trading. The role of intentional action in trading. It's very, very important. Why? Because unless you have the capacity to take the right action at the right time, repeatedly, knowledge and system are essentially useless. What about emotional intelligence? Where does that fit in? Now, self-knowledge that I recently posted about, where does that fit in? Analysis paralysis, right? This can easily be the default outcome when your focus becomes overly set on knowledge acquisition. Then a problem emerges, right? Which indicator to use, which technique to use, when to get in, when to get out, when to put your stops in a certain place, when to move them, when not to move them. All of those decisions. Now, I encounter this a lot, particularly with very intelligent people who come to trading, and they bring that high intelligence and attitude to trading. And one of the challenges that presents itself is the simplicity of a successful trading methodology, which, by the way, is relatively easy to construct. Many people find it difficult to accept this and end up on a never-ending treadmill, like the hamster wheel of there must be more. I need to learn more. I need to know more. That's the path to success, right? Work a bit harder than most, know a bit more than most, etc. So you might be thinking, what's the problem with wanting to know more? Well, the problem is with that mindset, there is never enough. These folks will never know enough, and that is a slippery slope to get on. The focus becomes knowledge is power. The more I know, the bigger advantage that will give me over other traders. And all the while, a crack has appeared, hidden from their awareness by a lower level of emotional intelligence. Now, what happens is over time, this crack becomes a yawning chasm, a chasm between the ability to find patterns in the charts, to add multiple layers of technical indicators, all of which many traders can intellectually explain very easily, all right? However, this chasm is starting to engulf them. Deep down inside, many traders have a sense of there being something not quite right, something wrong. Yet they can't quite put their finger on it, can't quite identify what it is. So it tends to get shoved out of the way, submerged below the surface of their trading efforts. Now, this tends to be what society, family of origin upbringing, workplace culture has taught the majority of people, that you push your emotions to the side, you overcome them with willpower, you block them out, you compartmentalize them. and 100 other strategies to avoid the vulnerability of dealing with them. It's prevalent in sport as well. And look, in a lot of those endeavors, if I'm being completely honest, that can be effective, right? Particularly when there's a space for decision making, right? You're not forced to make on the run decisions in a heartbeat like you are in trading. So it's only natural to bring that thinking into the trading arena. But this is a cardinal error. More knowledge will never overcome the 6.5 million years of evolutionary power that your emotional self wields. And this creates a real and present danger, a conflict between the taking of action and the acquisition of knowledge, which is really at the center of this episode. And as we know from many psychological studies, what gets buried gets stronger and stronger and stronger until one day it bursts. I mean, I am a very big proponent and believer of everything that goes in must come out eventually, and that applies to emotions. Everything that goes in will eventually come out. It could be years and years later. It could be minutes or seconds later, but it will eventually come out. Now, let's just take a step back for a moment. This inner struggle between what you know and what you actually do, it's not new. Mankind has been battling this eternal conflict for many centuries. It just so happens that in trading, we are faced with a compression of time and decision making that is very different to almost every other endeavor. And 99.99% of people are simply unprepared for it. All right, so let's cut to the chase here. Okay. The question on everyone's lips should be, if knowledge is not power, then what is power? Now, I did give a strong hint earlier. Can you guess? I mentioned it earlier in the preamble for this episode. So the answer is the ability to apply emotional regulation. That is the most powerful skill of all in trading. Now, I've had this discussion many times over many years with many traders, retail traders, beginner traders, experienced traders, proprietary traders, day traders, position traders, all sorts of traders, right? And there are many examples of short-term success where, learning the skills of emotional regulation haven't kicked in yet, right? So this is really what I'm talking about. For longer-term success in trading, you must develop the skills of emotional intelligence, emotional regulation, and learn how to apply them in the sort of the crucible of trading, right? Longer term, that is essential. Now, it really is the nexus between knowledge and success in trading, that link that joins what you know with how you trade. The key to following your rules, to entering, managing, and exiting trades according to your plan, okay? It's not that hard to come up with a plan. It's not that hard to come up with a system. It's not that hard to come up with rules. So you should always be questioning yourself and reflecting if you're struggling with execution. Well, why is it that part of it I can get right? Well, the knowledge, the system, the rules, the plan, the process, and yet I'm really struggling to execute it, right? That is the question, right? So there you have it, folks, right? All you have to do is learn emotional regulation skills and all will be right with your trading. No more questioning your sanity. No more wondering, why do I keep doing these things against what I know to be my rules? Now, it's like a crazy person grabs the steering wheel of your mind, right? Well, yes, it's simple to say, but not so simple to do. You must be prepared to do the hard work of mind training, right? This is the gap between awareness that you need to work on emotional regulation and the actual work of training your mind. Now, positive self-talk, visualization, some affirmations, a success mantra. Now, all of these things, which I see a lot of out in the trading world of education, they might make you feel good in the moment, but they are nothing more than what I would characterize as putting a band-aid on a gaping, gushing wound, right? They might make you feel slightly good that you're doing something, but they have little to nil effect on the problem. It takes work, practice, commitment and persistence, and an open mind to new things, new ways of learning and training yourself. And above all, it takes expert coaching and guidance. Seriously. Now, this is why I love what I do so much. Yes, I've been an active trader for 25 years and I'm profitable, right? But I get more joy out of passing on my learnings from 25 years in the trading trenches than I do from actually trading, right? I do love trading, but the actual act of trading itself is quite monotonous. So for me, passing on what I've learned through coaching and mentoring and education actually is what gives me fulfillment. It's why I love what I do so much. Now, I can see that I've got a couple of questions actually in the chat box. And thank you for jumping in there with a comment too. 𝐊𝐍𝐎𝐓 𝐓𝐑𝐔𝐄. I'll pop that here. Thank you, my friend. Where are you from? It'd be interested for you to pop into the chat box where you're from. While you're doing that, I'll jump in and have a look at these other couple of questions. I've got two questions here. Now, firstly, from Brian in Austin, Texas. Hi, Brian. Now, listen, I love Austin, by the way. I must get back to Austin again sometime soon. Now, Brian's question is, I have an IQ of 156. Wow, that is very, very high, Brian. And I've always been able to control my emotions in the past, yet I keep blowing up my trades. It's driving me nuts. What can I do? It's a really good question, Brian. It's a big question and there's quite a bit to unpack. But what I will say is it's your survival impulse kicking in the moment of trading decision making. That is what is corrupting your ability to take your high level of knowledge and intelligence and inject it into your trading. It's your survival impulse, the basis of human needs. Now, the best place to start with doing something about this is at the intervention point, right? At the first sign of emotional arousal. And I teach my clients to use diaphragmatic breathing, which is breathing in down into the lower lobes of the lungs rather than into the upper area of the lungs, Brian. So I would highly recommend that you start the practice of diaphragmatic breathing. It's a brilliant way, biologically proven, scientifically proven, to disrupt the emotional hijacking. Because what happens under the pressure of trading, we start to breathe in the higher part of our lungs, shallower, faster breaths where there's a lot of muscle tension and other parts of that biological signature of survival impulse. But the one that you can affect the quickest is through breath. So Brian, look up some diaphragmatic breathing strategies, start some practice, and above all, reach out and get some coaching, okay? Love to talk further about this another time. Now, hello, Pradeep. You're in India. You have a question. Let me just check this. Your question is, surely continuing to learn and gain knowledge is a good thing. Are you saying I should stop learning and focus purely on mind training? That is a great question, Pradeep. Thank you. And the simple answer is you must separate knowledge acquisition from your day-to-day trading, okay? This is the problem with many, many traders. The more they learn, the more they want to inject new knowledge into their trading. And it's a very corrosive process. I've experienced this myself, Pradeep, back in the past, many years ago, is this desire to keep learning, this desire to gain more knowledge. It is okay, but the problem is it then corrupts our day-to-day trading technique and our trading strategy, because we're always bringing in new ideas to our trading, right? And we get lost and caught betwixt and between our system that we had and the new knowledge that we're gaining. So my advice is, once you have a simple system that works, stick with it until it stops working, right? Don't bring in new knowledge into a system that's already working. Keep learning, but discipline yourself to keep your knowledge as an intellectual pursuit, not as a continual trading system upgrade. Oh, 𝐊𝐍𝐎𝐓, you're in Australia, Sydney. You're about 800 kilometres away from me. I'm down here in regional Victoria. And let me just put your comment up on the screen here. I've recently decided to give up so many things and go back to what I've done when I was 16. That's trading. Now I'm 41. I'm still learning and I love it. That is fantastic. And you don't mind to take the F, because that means I'm trading. Now I assume the L stands for loss and the F might stand for failure. You might want to just add that in. And I hope I'm getting your name correct, my friend. So good to hear that you're sticking with it. And I really, really hope that, this mind training, emotional regulation, you take this on board and you explore, if you haven't already, how to bring this into your trading. Thank you so much for jumping in, and so good to see you. Okay. So there's no more questions. So in summary, can I repeat the key learnings here, right? That yes, number one, knowledge is important. I am not saying knowledge is not important. Knowledge is very important. System and rules are very important. But retraining your mind to a higher level of emotional intelligence, emotional regulation, is the power skill that catalyzes knowledge and system into correct and consistent action. That is my key message. So please take that away. You're very welcome, my friend. You're very, very welcome. That's very kind of you. And I love what I do. As I've said before, and I said in this episode, I've been trading myself for a quarter of a century, and I get so much joy and fulfillment from sharing what I've learned and helping other traders. So I really appreciate you saying that. Okay, so that's the end of this episode. Knowledge is not power. Emotional regulation is the power skill that catalyzes knowledge and system and rules together into correct repetitive action. Now, from here, there's three or four different ways I can help you. So please, from this episode, go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I put all the episodes over there, including this one. And there's many, many more short training videos, and I intend to continue to put in there short, actionable training videos, always free. I just love sharing this stuff. You can visit my website, mindsetfitmethod.com, and watch a more detailed training masterclass there. Just click on the Watch Masterclass button. If you feel like you'd like some advice or help now, then book a one-on-one discovery chat with me by DMing me, direct messaging me on LinkedIn, or going to my diary via the website. Okay. Now, wherever you may be in the world, I thank you again for joining me, and I wish you a week of mindful trading ahead. See you at the same time, same day next week for another episode of the Trading Psychology and Mindset Show.